What's the number one mistake that's keeping you from dominating in pickleball doubles? If you said poor serve or weak backhand, you're way off. The real culprit is something so simple. You probably do it every single game without even realizing it. In this video, we're going to expose this game-ruining habit and show you how to fix it in less than 60 seconds. Get ready to learn the move that'll have your opponents begging for mercy and your partners fighting to play with you. Are you ready to revolutionize your game? Picture this. You're stuck at the baseline, watching your opponents dominate the kitchen. It's frustrating, right? You're not alone. So many players fall into this trap, thinking it's safer to hang back. But let me tell you, that passive strategy is actually putting you at a huge disadvantage. Here's the thing. When you're glued to the baseline, you're basically handing control of the game to your opponents. Top players know this, and they'll exploit it every chance they get. They'll keep you pinned back with deep serves, making it nearly impossible for you to get to the kitchen. And once they've got you trapped, they'll start picking you apart with aggressive shots that you can't effectively counter from way back there. You need to understand just how important controlling the kitchen is. Check this out. Teams that dominate the kitchen win about 80% of the points played. That's not just a small advantage, it's a game changer. When you're stuck at the baseline, you're giving up all that potential to control the game. One of the biggest myths in pickleball is that staying back is safer. But here's what's really happening. You become an easy target for your opponents who are up at the kitchen line. They've got all the angles, all the control, and you're left scrambling just to keep the ball in play. So what's the solution? How do you break free from this baseline trap and start dominating the game? That's where the return and run strategy comes in. It's a simple but incredibly effective move that'll completely transform your game. Here's a quick preview. Instead of hitting your return and staying put, you're going to hit that return and immediately rush to the kitchen line. This puts you in a position to take control of the point right from the start. It's the same strategy that helped so many recreational players level up their game and become real threats on the court. But before we dive into the nitty-gritty of how to execute the return and run, we need to take a closer look at why the kitchen is so important. Understanding this is key to really appreciating the power of this strategy. So let's break down exactly what makes the kitchen the most crucial real estate on the pickleball court. Trust me, this is going to change how you see the entire game. Ever notice how the best players seem to own that space right up at the net? And that feeling when you're there and in total control? That's what we're after here. Controlling the kitchen in doubles is like having a superpower. It's where all the action happens. And if you're not there, you're missing out big time. Think about it this way. When you're stuck at the baseline, you're basically playing defense the whole time. But when you're up at the kitchen line, you're the one calling the shots. You can react faster, hit harder, and really put the pressure on your opponents. It's like night and day. Here's what's really cool about being at the net. You can hit the ball at a downward angle. That might not sound like much, but it's huge. It makes it way harder for your opponents to return the ball effectively. They're going to be making a lot more mistakes, and you're going to be winning a lot more points. But there's more to it than just hitting down. When you're at the kitchen line, you're in charge of the pace of the game. You can speed things up or slow them down, whatever works best for you. Your opponents, they're just trying to keep up. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but how do I actually get to the kitchen and stay there? Great question. Pro players have a secret. Once they're at the kitchen line, they don't back off. They hold their ground no matter what. It's all about staying aggressive and keeping the pressure on. But here's the thing. Getting to the kitchen fast is just as important as staying there. That's where the return and run strategy comes in. It's your ticket to kitchen domination. Instead of hitting your return and hanging back, you're going to hit that return and book it to the kitchen line. It's simple, but it's a game changer. Think about it. If you can get to the kitchen before your opponents, you've already won half the battle. You're in position to take control of the point right from the start. It's like you're setting up an ambush, and your opponents won't know what hit them. Now that you know why controlling the kitchen is so important, you're probably itching to learn exactly how to do it. Don't worry, I've got you covered. In the next section, we're going to break down the return and run strategy step by step. You'll learn everything you need to know to start dominating the kitchen and taking your game to the next level. Get ready, because this is where things really get exciting. Think you're ready to dominate the kitchen? Hold up. There's one crucial mistake that even experienced players make when rushing the net. It's costing them points left and right, and you're probably doing it too. But don't worry, I'm about to show you how to avoid it and leave your opponents scratching their heads. Let's break down the return and run strategy step by step. First, you want to position yourself a few feet behind the baseline. This gives you more time to react to deep serves and make a controlled return. When the serve comes, focus on hitting a deep return. This is key because it forces your opponents to hit up, making it easier for you to get to the kitchen. Now, here's where a lot of players mess up. They hit a good return, but then just stand there watching the ball. Big mistake. As soon as you've made contact with the ball, you need to start moving forward. Use quick, short steps to maintain your balance as you head to the kitchen line. Remember, it's called return and run for a reason. When you're moving forward, keep your paddle up and ready. A lot of players drop their paddle as they run, but this leaves you vulnerable to quick shots from your opponents. Keep that paddle up and your eyes on the ball. You want to be ready to react as soon as you reach the kitchen line. Now, let's talk about one of the biggest fears players have when trying this strategy. What if I get lobbed? Here's the thing. A good lob is hard to hit, especially when you're under pressure. By rushing the net, you're putting that pressure on your opponents. They're more likely to make mistakes or hit weak shots that you can easily handle. Here's a pro tip for you. As you're running to the kitchen, pay attention to your opponent's body language. Are they setting up for a lob? Are they getting ready to hit it right at you? This can help you adjust your approach and be ready for whatever comes your way. Remember, the goal of the return and run isn't just to get to the kitchen, it's to take control of the point. Once you're at the kitchen line, use short, compact swings. This helps you avoid hitting into the net, which is a common mistake when you're under pressure at the kitchen line. By mastering this strategy, you're instantly going to become more competitive. You'll be putting pressure on your opponents from the very start of the point, forcing them to make tough shots while you're in the perfect position to counter. It's a game changer, trust me. But what about when you're the serving team? Don't worry, I've got you covered there too. In the next section, we're going to talk about how to use your serve to set up your attack and complement your return and run strategy. Get ready to take your game to the next level. You know that guy at the local courts who seems to win every game when he's serving? I bet you think he's just got a killer serve. But here's the thing. His real advantage kicks in way before the ball even crosses the net. Let me show you what he's doing that you're not. First off, you need to understand that serving isn't just about getting the ball in play. It's your first chance to take control of the point. A strategic serve can set you up for an easier third shot. And that's where the magic happens. You want to make life difficult for your opponents right from the start. So what's the secret? Depth, my friends. Depth is key. You want to aim for the back third of the service box. Why? Because it forces your opponents to start from farther back, giving them less time to prepare for their shot. It's like you're pushing them onto their heels before they even hit the ball. Now, here's where a lot of players mess up. They serve and immediately move into the court. Big mistake. You need to serve and stay back to read the return before deciding on your next move. This gives you the flexibility to respond to whatever your opponents throw at you. Let's talk about placement. Mixing up your serve placement is crucial. You want to keep your opponents guessing. Try serving to their backhand. It's often their weaker side, and you're more likely to get a shorter return. And remember, you want to keep those serves deep and low. This makes it harder for your opponents to return effectively and gives you a better chance to advance to the kitchen line. But don't just rely on placement. Mix up your speed too. A change of pace can throw off your opponent's timing and lead to weak returns. And here's a pro tip. Try targeting the returning player with a drive. If they haven't reached the kitchen yet, you might catch them off guard. Now, you might be wondering how all this connects to your net approach. Well, a good serve strategy complements your return and run when you're receiving. By keeping your opponents back with your serve, you're creating the same kind of pressure that you face when you're returning. It's all about controlling the court and keeping your opponents on the defensive. Remember, the goal of your serve isn't just to get the ball in play. It's to set up your attack and put yourself in the best position to win the point. With these strategies in your arsenal, you'll be the one everyone fears at the service line. Now you've got the tools for both serving and receiving. Let's put it all together and see how it transforms your game. All right, we've covered a lot of ground today, and I hope you're feeling pumped to hit the courts and try out these strategies. Remember, it's not about swinging harder or faster, it's about playing smarter. The return and run is your secret weapon to dominate the kitchen and control the game. Here's a challenge for you. In your next match, commit to using the return and run on every return. Yeah, it might feel a bit weird at first, but stick with it. Pay attention to how it changes the dynamic of the game. Are you winning more points? Are your opponents looking frustrated? I bet you'll see a big difference. As Ben John says, it's not about hitting harder, it's about playing smarter and positioning yourself effectively to control the game. That's exactly what you're doing with this strategy. With some practice, you'll be the player everyone fears at the net. So get out there, give it a try, and let me know how it goes. Your pickleball game is about to level up big time. Before you go, do you struggle against hard hitters, also known as bangers? Most people do and often feel intimidated. Learn how to turn the tide against bangers by clicking on my video, How to Easily Beat Bangers in Pickleball. Do this now. Thanks for watching.